Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, great. So let's just start. Okay, so we'll be discussing one by one each and every question. Like a few questions which I need that they need explanation. I'll be I'll be explaining in deep, but others you I know. So let me know like what I hope everyone saw this PDF and everyone read the question. So let me know if the question's very tough or moderate. What you felt after reading that, Amos?
Yes, ma'am. Some of them are okay because we wrote the notes now and I'm used to them. So
Okay, but few of them were new, right? Some extra concepts were there.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. What about other? Other, did you saw this video? Other, did you see?
Yeah,
No?
ma'am, I had gone through it.
Okay. So what you thought? Like questions were difficult? Easy, moderate? Okay, okay.
Yeah, ma'am, it was moderate, but I had a doubt in the question number 14.
Okay, okay. That will be
Like,
great.
I didn't know the answer of this.
Okay. What about Khushi?
Ma'am, some of them were difficult.
Okay. I hope you people have marked them so that we can discuss it. Okay. Though I'll be discussing every question, but still. Mariam, did you saw this? Did you see this paper? Like the so not paper question answer PDF? And like yeah, you can write in chat box and like what like how you felt, like moderate, tough. Okay, some were confused. Okay. Okay, so students, let's just start. Today we'll be doing that, and in our next class I'll be giving you the test for this. Is it fine with everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Fine.
Okay. Okay, so the very first question is for which industries was India, sorry, for which industries was India partially well known during the British colonial and war? Okay, so the answer is very much sweet and simple. India was particularly well known for its handicraft industries in the field of cotton and textile, metal, precious, some work, right? And why they enjoyed the worldwide market? Because of these two things. The first question was very simple. Everyone knew the answer, right? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, second, what was the focus of economic policies pursued by colonial government and what was the impact? This was also a direct question. What was the focus? Promoting and promotion of their own home country and making India the supplier of raw material. And the impact, we already did that, right? The impact was like it made India the raw material supplier and, the importer of finished good, right? And okay, you can see the answer over here. That protection and promotion of the home country and this policy they brought fundamental change, right? They made India the they made India the importer of this finished good and exporter of raw material. Plus, it also affected the national income. Like British never paid attention to all this thing, like what was the GDP, and because of that, the GDP rate was 0.5 and 2%, right? The GDP and the real GDP was 0.5% per year. This was also the simple question. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now how was Zamindari system, the revenue settlement, the poor economic condition? This also no impact of Zamindari system. Like Zamindars then thought about the economic policies. They use that term like they use some aggregations as well, like what you have to pay it before the date, before this due date. You have to pay this much of tax plus whatever benefit agriculture sector was earning. It was going directly to Zamindars. And zamindars, what they were doing, basically, they were not using that money for the economic growth of agriculture sector or the farmers. They were only using it for their own purpose. Right? Clear third one?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Others? Yes, no, maybe? Just
Yes,
be
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Now, what was the twofold motive? This also, twofold motive. This is the very important question because most of the time it is seen that this question gets repeated. So, you have to. Okay. What? Okay. You were doing? So confusing. Sorry. We didn't did this, right? What was the main cause of Indians' agriculture stagnation? You also know the zamindari system, lack of irrigation facilities, poor low technology, and lack of resources. All those things, right? Direct question from the notes. And what was the twofold motive? This also we have done in the classes as well. Right, twofold motive was basically first to reduce the status, like reduced India the status from exporter. Right, they just wanted to make India the exporter and importer of finished good. And second, the sprawling market. Right, they want to make India the exporter of raw materials. Second, they wanted India to become the market or the importer of the finished. Right, so this was a twofold motive of Britishers. Right. And the next question number 6, the traditional handicraft industries are ruined under British rule. Do you agree with this view? This is somewhere you will be getting question like this. Okay, do you like there are very less chances you'll be getting direct question. There are chances like this. Here the handicraft industries were under British rule. Do you agree with this? Yes, handicraft industries was like how you are going to write it. This is very important question, right? Okay. So the traditional handicraft industry were ruined under British colonial. The statement is true. Okay, this is how you have to answer. Under the British rule, the country indigenous handicraft declined. First, because of that, what happened in massive unemployment was there. Plus, India became the consumer market. Now the demand of finished good increases in India because now India was not producing anything. Right, the rule of British India government led to collapse of India worldwide famous handicraft industry without contributing in any significant manner to its replacement by modern industrial base. The establishment of few manufacturing units were no substitute to near wholesale displacement of country's traditional handicraft industry. Okay, so what Britishers did, see, we were only dependent on agriculture, right? Plus few of the industries like handicraft industry. So what happened? Britishers never focused on agriculture sector. Plus, they ruined the handicraft industries, and in that place, they asked India to adopt modern industries, right? But there also, like, see, if for example, you people are good in economics, right? So if I'll be offering you any job, it should be something related to economics. If I just ask you people to go in the science field, it will be very difficult for you, right? So what happened first, because of demolition of handicraft industry, massive unemployment plus the demand increase, right? And after that also Britishers made like this step that now modern industries will be there, but no substitute to near wholesale displacement or something like that. They should at least, if they are opening any modern industry, it should be related to handicraft. Why? Because people were mostly engaged and they knew that work. But Britishers never, just for the formality, they said modern industry and all that, but they never wanted to promote handicraft. That's why they shifted to modern industries, and there also they didn't contribute. So this is how traditional handicraft came to end during the British colonial. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Next, critically appraise some of the shortfalls. Shortfall question was there directly, right? So this is what you have to write it down. The question in notes itself, there was a like direct answer of this. Okay. So basically what was slow progress, lack of capital good industries, no substitute to country's traditional handicraft, low growth rate, limited area of operation of public sector. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now next question was, what do you understand by drain of India's wealth during colonial period? Drain of India's wealth, you all know that foreign trade, everything was getting drained, right? So what do you understand? This is the question, like most of the time they have asked this question. So you have to write about wealth is basically the money, right? And from where you are getting money, whatever people are exporting, right? From foreign only you are getting money. So India's foreign trade throughout the colonial period generated large amount surplus, right? We were generating lots because export increased, right? However, the export surplus did not result in any flow of gold and silver in the country. So India's wealth was draining. Why? Because the money which Britishers were, like India was getting from the export, Britishers were using for them for war purposes, for their development, from administration management. They were using it for their own growth. Instead of using that money for India's growth, Britishers were using that money for their own growth. That's why India's wealth drained down. Okay, India never become wealthy. Why? Because no money was there. Whatever money they were getting, the Britishers were using it. That's why you can say that India's foreign, like because of foreign trade and because of money they were getting and Britishers were using it, India's wealth drained day by day. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Okay. Next one is what do you? Okay, this one we have done. 9. How did the restricted policies of of commodity production, trade and tariff pursued by colonial government affect the structure, composition and volume of direction of India's foreign trade. Okay, so restricted policies were there, you know that, right? That you don't have to produce this, you have to produce that, you can trade only with this and this country, you cannot trade with everyone. All these policies they affected. And or you can write directly about the volume and direction of trade that we have done, right? This question is also clear, I think, everyone.
Yes,
These
ma'am.
questions are directly from the notes, right? We have already structure and composition we have done, that India became exporter of this and finished good and all that. Plus volume was 50% of the India's trade was restricted to Britain. Plus the remaining 50% was like they were only allowed to trade with few countries like China, Sri Lanka, Iran, all that. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone? Okay. Next one is also quantitative appraisal. We have done this, right? The demographic structure, like the literacy rate, everything they were doing it, right? So literacy, this is, you can see these questions are directly from the notes itself. Okay. So what was the, okay, yeah, low level of literacy, high mortality rate, high low life expectancy, right? These were basically the quantitative appraisal. Why I have written quantitative appraisal? Because numbers are included here, 16%, 7%, right? 44 years. Pushi, if you remember this low life expectancy, right?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. 11th was highlight this line feature of India's pre-independent occupation structure. Okay. This is what you have to explain, that 80% of the population was engaged there, right? So first was line feature. So little sight of change, that what happened, agriculture sector largest share. Okay, and this 70 to 70%, while manufacturing services sector was 10 to 15. Manufacturing was 10 and service was 15 to 20. This you have to remember, because most of the time they ask you the percentage as well, like agriculture sector was in, like how much population was engaged in that, right? And second was growing regional variation. Growing regional variation, like what was happening, in few parts agriculture sector was increasing, and in other part service and manufacture sector was increasing, right? So this was basically the occupation structure. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Next was highlight, this we have done, what objective this British intend to achieve through their policies of infrastructure development in India. Okay, so basically what was their objective? Their main objective was that whatever they constructed, their main objective was to promote their home countries, right? So real objective was road were constructed in India primarily serve the purpose of mobilizing India. They constructed road. Okay, but their main motive was to mobilize army within the India and drawing raw material from the countryside, right, to nearest railway station and other foreign countries. Similarly, all this electronic telegraph and all that they introduced so that they can maintain law and order in the country. So basically, whatever contribution they did in the infrastructure, like they constructed road, railway, telegraph, inland, all that, their main motive was just to promote their home countries, right? So, but the only way to promote us just by introducing things in India. So this is what the real objective was. Basically, whatever they are doing, their main interest was their home country, right? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now next is write the sorry, were there any positive contribution by the Britishers? Yes, there were positive contribution, like they constructed road, they constructed railway, they introduced telegraph and all that. So yes, Britishers though did very worse thing with Indian economy, but yes, they have contributed lot, right? So what they did, first of all, here this question you have to remember as it is, right? Though we have done this, but sometimes they directly ask this question, and what was the positive contribution or what was the contribution. So first they constructed road, you all know that. Second, they introduced railway in India. Railway point you have to mention. Okay. And third point, they developed inland trade and sea. You all know that, right? Plus they introduced electric telegraph and the postal services, right? So basically these were the major four contribution or positive contribution, you can say, which Britishers made to India. Okay, clear? This question you have to learn as it is, because there are high chances they'll be asking you this question. Okay. And the next, how did railway affect the structure of Indian economy? Okay, this is also one of the important questions. how railway affected. So two waves was there. One way they they reduce the travel. Now people can travel here and there. And second hand, they adversely everything was commercialization. They like for deforestation was there, lot many things. Plus, thus the social benefit which Indian people gained due to introduction. See, there were two things, one good and one bad. Okay, this you can see. Social benefit which they were getting, there were very few social benefit, but the loss was very much high, right? So when there is a comparison, we will be saying that loss was high but social benefit was less. This is how railway affected the structure of Indian economy, right? So they affected in two ways, one in good way, another one is bad way. Okay, next the last one is underscores some India's most crucial economic challenges at the time of independence. This is the most important topic, right? Because this is very okay. Other no, yes, other 14th question you were not getting it, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll just explain it. Okay, just a okay. So what happened basically? Britishers introduced railway, right? So how it affected Indian economy? So first, on one hand, from one side, it enabled people to undertake long distance travel and thereby break geographical and cultural barriers. For example, this is me, and I want to go somewhere, but there is no. For example, I'm living in India. I want to go Saudi. I cannot go it. Why? Because the distance is very high and there is no transport. So because of railways, the distance becomes shorter. Now people can travel from one place to another. So the barrier between the geographical means area wise and the cultural barrier, it broke it down. Now people from Saudi, they can come to India, and from Indian people can go anywhere, right? So basically first what happened, long distance they can easily cover, plus this broke down the geographical and cultural barrier. Clear? Second, on the other hand, it fostered commercialization of Indian agriculture while adversely affected the self-sufficiency of village economic in India. Undoubtedly, the volume of India export expanded, but its benefits really occurred to Indian people. So what happened now? See, if you want to construct railway, you need to cut down trees and all that. You need flat lands, you need a space where you will be constructing. So because of that, agriculture sector now people, what they were doing, they were switching it off. Like they were not interested in agriculture anymore. Plus, it destroyed somewhere like the people who were dependent on forest itself. It destroyed everything. So though because of railways, the export increased, because earlier it was only possible to take 100 boxes, but now because of railway you can carry 1,000 boxes. So though export increased, but because that the whatever export they were getting, its benefit was not really, you can say, occurred by the Indian people. So we can say the benefit which we got from the construction of railways, it was less, but the loss we faced was very high. So somewhere it was good, somewhere it was bad, but overall if you look, loss was loss, you can say it was much more as compared to the benefit. Clear? Now other?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, last question, which is very important, is India's most crucial economic challenges at the time of independence. Okay, so these were basically the most first low level of economic growth. You can say that GDP was real GDP was 0.5%, sorry, 2%, and GDP was 0.5. Plus agriculture productivity was very low. You can add more points, right? Because this is not sufficient for 6 marks, right? You have to add full point. You know, now you have to merge all the points like agriculture sector, industrial sector, economic sector, foreign trade, and infrastructure, and the demography. You have to explain all the topics over here, right? So first, low level of economic growth. Second, agriculture productivity. You know, you can also write that agriculture sector was facing lot of issue, this and this, right? Lack of industrial base. Now you'll be writing about industrial base, that Indian sector was crying for modernization. They wanted modernization, diversification, capital building, but no, the British never focused. Even though they destroyed the handicraft industries, plus they introduced modern, but no investment was made overall. Next, foreign trade. Foreign trade, there was a restriction in foreign trade that you can only trade with this country. You can only trade and foreign trade. Though export was high because of introduction of railways, but whatever benefit was getting from export, that was going directly to the Britishers, right? And plus inadequate infrastructure. We don't have much infrastructure. Though railway and these things introduced, but they also needed they also needed upgradation. Clear? So this is what you are not going to write only this point in 6 marker, right? You are going to add more points, definitely, because it's 6 marks a question. But heading you can choose. You can write whatever you felt like. What was agriculture? There was stagnation. Why there was stagnation? Because of zamindari system. Write everything. 6 marks, you at least need to write a good number of like you can say few good lines over there. Only then you will be getting. If you will write this, you will get 4 marks. Only 4 marks. You have to add points. Clear?
Ma'am, only 4 mark for that much.
Yeah, for this much you'll only get 4 marks because you have to add few points over there. Because over here, but first thing which examiner will see, okay, only 5 points. Either he'll be giving you 4 or 5, not 6. Because the question is for 6 marks, right? So either you have to like you have to add one more point. You can add like you can add handicraft industry got destroyed, right? Because there are lots of, or you can add even the demographic structure over here, right? The demographic structure was very poor, literacy rate was very high. You can add either write 6 points, or if you're writing only 5 points, just increase, like just add one line in each of them. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, understood.
Okay, so I hope for NCRT question you like things were clear. Like whatever we did in notes, everything was there, right? There was nothing out of box for NCRT, right?
Yes,
Everyone, Kushi,
Yes, ma'am.
Mariam,
Yes,
Adar.
ma'am.
Yes. So for NCRT things were clear, but yeah, these are HOTS. So basically, sometimes examiners set higher questions, right? The tougher one. So at that moment you won't be like, oh ma'am, how to answer, right? So that's why I just introduced few questions for this as well, right? So let's just start with this. Okay. Because for NCRT it was nothing like, I don't think there was any question which if people thought that, oh my god, what to write. Yeah, last question can be somewhere like, because it was a merger, right? But challenges, if I'll ask you, all people know challenges. Agriculture sector was also facing challenges. Industrial, each and every sector was facing challenges, right? So now let's just move to HOTS. Okay. Question is, the traditional handicraft industries were ruined under British rule. Do you agree with this or this? This you have already done, right? In NCRT as well. Here also it's mentioned. You have done this, right? Yes, no, maybe,
Yes, ma'am.
right?
yes,
So
ma'am.
basically how you will be first introducing that handicraft enjoyed worldwide this because of this reason. But however, during the British rule, country famous wind, which is not because of that unemployment created, this and this happened, all this you are going to write. Okay. Next one is, during the British colonial rule, despite being an occupation of 85% of India's population, the agriculture sector contributed to experience stagnation and not infrequently. See, you will be getting question like this. Definitely, you will be getting question like this. Over here, first you are going to start like read this question, and then you are going to like just remember your notes. First, what he is asking, for which sector he is talking about, because in this chapter you have different sector: handicraft, industries, agriculture, right? So first, when you read the first this occupation, okay, then uh, agriculture sector, so you remember, okay, agriculture sector he is talking about. So what he said agriculture sector continued to experience stagnations and not infrequently unusual deterioration. Agriculture productivity became low. So do you agree or not? So yes, we agree. Of course, there was a stagnation. Of course, there was an agriculture low, like productivity. So you are going to write nothing. You are going to write yes. During British colonial, India's agriculture has this and this problem, and the reasons were: first, zamindari system. Okay, so you'll be writing that. Second, what we did irrigation, low level of technology and irrigation. Third, we did the lack of resources. That's it. Okay. Plus, in lack of over here, what they have done the commercial point additional one, right? Because they want, because it's depend on the marks. It's a 6 marker. So if you will increase your points, there are high chances you'll be getting marks, right? So over there, they just introduce one more point, commercialization. So commercialization is basically, we also did this, right? Commercialization, basically what Britishers say, now you don't need to produce food crops, you need to produce cash crops. If you people remember, right? When we were talking about this point, low level of technology and lack of irrigation facilities. So we did first point that there was no irrigation facilities and no technology. And second thing, Britishers forced Indians to produce cash crop. Cash crop means through which you'll be getting money. And commercialization is basically earning money. Okay, commerce is basically earning money, right? So cash. So Britishers forced Indians to, to plant things, so to do irrigation, so to do agriculture in the field of cash crops instead of food crops. Okay. So because of these reasons, what happened? Yes, the statement is true because yes, Indian agriculture sector faced issue while during British colony. These were the reasons for that. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Others? You will
Yes,
be
ma'am.
getting question like this and you have to mark. When you get the question answer, just mark for which sector they are talking about and what you are going to write. Because they won't be asking you direct what were the impact of agriculture sector. No, they'll be giving you the question. You have to find out what they are asking, and then you have to answer it accordingly. Okay, clear?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Clear.
Okay, next was India could not develop develop a sound industrial base under British colonial rule, even as the country's world famous handicraft industry declined. No corresponding modern industries base was allowed to come up to take pride of place so long enjoyed by the former. Okay. In the light of our statement, critically appraise. Critically appraise means you have to tell them the negative point as plus the some good. Critically, you have to criticize it. Okay. Some of the shortfalls of industry's policies pursued by this. Okay, so first thing is that when you read the questions, I don't know anything. India could not develop sound industrial base. So, ma'am, they are talking about industrial. Okay, when during British period, and they are also talking about handicraft industries, right? So then after long, they are just telling you about the industrial policy and all that. So how you will start? First, some shortfall of this and this were this, right? Plus, over here, you can say, yes, the handicraft industries, it's not something what is written over here, right? It is you who are going to frame the answer. So over here, they just asked about handicraft industry. So write like the, yes, the statement is true, right? Though they have all, just they mentioned that you have to mention the shortfall and you people know the shortfalls, right? But if you write it, yes, the industrial sector, handicraft industries, though enjoyed a worldwide famous because of Britishers, it came down, right? Because of following reasons, because there were some shortfalls in the industrial policies, and these were the shortfalls. And industry's development remained very slow, right? Though they developed the cotton textile and all that, Tisco was there, right? They second, there was hardly capital good industry. You have done shortfalls, right? Low development, plus you have done the this one capital industry, low growth rate, very limited operations of public sector. You have done the shortfalls. So this is also the direct question. And also in the question itself, they have mentioned you have to write the shortfall of industrial policies, and you have done this. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
So whenever you are getting question, don't get confused. Oh my God, what is written? You just have to mark what they are asking for, what sector they are demanding. You have already done lots of things for each and every sector. For agriculture, you have done everything. For industrial, you have done everything. For infrastructure, occupation, demographic, you have done everything. So you need to be confident. If you are going to study your notes, only your notes, you can answer each and every question. I don't think that if with the help of your notes, is there any question you cannot answer? You can answer each and every question if you are studying your notes in a very good way. You even don't need to learn this question answer, right? Because in exam hall, for example, I'm introducing this question answer. They won't be asking that only, same, right? They'll be framing their own question. But if you are learning your notes, you can answer each and every question. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Okay. Now the next thing is, the next question is, the most important characteristics of India's foreign trade throughout the colonial period was the generation of large export surplus. This surplus came to huge cost of the country's economy. So now they are talking about export, right? So do you agree? You have to tell. So now basically they are talking about export and they are talking about foreign trade, right? So now coming to foreign trade, they are telling you that there was lots of surplus trade. So now you have to tell them that yes, though foreign trade was very and everything was getting here, but it never contributed to Indians' economic growth, right? Why? Because whatever money we were getting from export, it was like Britishers were using them for their use, their home countries, their own interest. Okay, so yes, the given statement is correct. India's foreign become like India's foreign trade during British colonial generated a lot of export surplus, but that costed the Indian economy. How? Because now we were basically providing essential commodities like food, growth, right? We were only exporting it. In domestic market, there was no surplus, right? There was no, because we were exporting each and everything. But in our own country, we had very less food grains and all that. Second, whatever money we were getting from export, that money Britishers were using it. Because of that, it led to drain of Indian wealth. That's it. Over. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Others, you're getting it. I know. You
Yes,
just have
ma'am.
to read your notes. I have given you, I guess, like in the very precise manner. Also, plus I have explained everything. If you face any difficulty, you can reach out to me anytime. But you have to study your notes. For exam, like for your test, also you have to just don't go through all this question answer. Right? Just go through your notes. Just read the question, because if you know the question what they are asking, you can answer anything. But if you are not getting what you have to answer, though you know your notes, you have learned all your notes, but still you are not getting it, how to answer what they are asking you, because they won't be asking you. Here also they don't ask you that how Indian wealth drained or something like that. No, they just gave you the story. You have to find out what they are asking. This is what economics is all about, like the theory portion. Sorry. Okay. Now, next thing is that under the colonial regime, basic infrastructure. So now they are talking about infrastructure. Underline it. Railway, ports, water transport, ports, and telegraph all developed. However, real motive behind infrastructure development was not to provide basic amenities to people, but to subverse various colonial interests. So, do you think? See, though they introduced infrastructure in our country like roads, railway, and all that, but their main motive was to develop their base. Their main motive was not to provide things to people. So, how do you like agree? So, what was the objective? Okay. So whatever they said, you have to mention it. Road they constructed, but their main motive was to mobilize army and all that. They introduced railway, but their main motive was to connect all that. Inland they connected, but their main motive was basically just to uh, put things here and there. Okay. Next, they even like introduced this telegraph and all that, but they wanted to maintain law and order. That's why they introduced this telegraph. Plus the postal services, they always, though they introduced postal services, right, but they remain inadequate. For 100 people, there was only one post office. So how will it work, right? Though they introduced, but still it was inadequate. Okay, they introduced it only for their own purpose so that they can use it, but for people it was not adequate, it was not sufficient. Clear? So this you have already done. This is a good answer, and it's also from the notes. So if you want to read it, you can read it, because somewhere you will be getting this question. Okay, clear everyone?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. Next one is introduction of railways. Now they are talking about railways. Was considered as one of the most important contribution to Britishers. So you have to tell them the social benefit people got and the economic loss. Okay, so do you agree? So the given statement is true, right? No doubt in introduction of railways by Britishers, most of the important contribution. However, negative points. So you can write about that on one aspect it contributed and all that one. You remember that? On one hand, like that point, and on other hand like that, and last, thus the social benefit was very less, but the damage was very high. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Others?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the social and economic challenges before India at the time of India independence was enormous. Do you agree? This question was also the last question of NCR, right? So yes, uh, this was, so basically low level economic development, agriculture sector was poor, industrial sector, see they have written over here, right? They in the was crying for modernization and all that, right? Foreign trade was oriented to feel industrial revolution, so foreign trade was very all that. This is what you can write for 6 marks. You will be definitely getting this question, so you can use this answer. Like instead of using the NCRT answer, just use this answer. You will be getting 6 answers if you are going to write all this. Okay, you have to write this, foreign trade, infrastructure facilities. Okay, plus poverty was there, poverty and unemployment was there, right? Clear everyone? Just read the last question from your notes. You have the PDF with you people, right? Or just read it from the screen. Okay, and let me know if you're okay, because this is very important question. Why this is important question? Because in the if you will attempt this question, that means you know the entire chapter. You are talking about all the sector, industry, agriculture, infrastructure, foreign trade, everything you are summarizing over here. Right, so there are high chances they'll be directly asking you this question so that they can judge you whether the student know the things related to this chapter or not. Okay, so just read it.
Then reading, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. So now you people will quickly revise all the questions. Like just go through the hot portion. Okay. And let me know if you are facing any issue or is there any question from your end you were not getting it. Now you are get. Just let me know. Kushi, any question from your end? Like you were not getting it. If you have marked any question, you can let me know. Same with Amos, Mariam, and other.
Ma'am, in the stagnation of agriculture,
Hmm.
in my school notes, it's a bit different from this one.
Not a problem. See, everything is very like you cannot combine everything, right? The notes which you will be getting. So what they have written in stagnation, just tell me if you have.
It is zamindari system,
Hmm.
mahalwari system, rayatwari system,
Okay.
and yeah,
Hmm.
and the other 2 points are also different from this.
Okay. Tell me if you have the notes.
1 second. Ma'am, it is commercialization of agriculture, and the
Hmm.
last point is partition of the country.
Okay, okay. Yes, you can include the things like that as well because nothing is wrong, right? Partition is also considered as one of the important point. Why? Because stagnation you'll be getting in next chapter as well, right? So there will be covering that portion. But stagnation of agriculture first, like if this point is there, like separation on that, you can include it. And if you will write all this, commercialization is here, right? When you are doing this, we have already introduced that point, commercialization. And zamindari system, they have explained it in detail. Like there were different types of system, right? But if you'll only write about zamindari system, that is also going to be fine. But as you have notes with you, you can include it, right? So you can make it a merger. I won't be deducting your marks, plus your teacher won't be deducting your marks. Okay, you can include. If you have your notes with you, you can include that point as well, right? So student, those who have done things in the school and somewhere if you get some extra point, you can ask me that, ma'am, these were the point, and definitely nothing is wrong, right? You can add point. Adding point is nothing wrong, but deducting point is wrong because you cannot you expect marks if you're not writing all the points, right? So amos, you can add it and make your own answer, right? Wherever you have written the notes, just add notes over there. Just make a slip and just add it over there, right? You can use chat over there, like wherever we had done the agriculture sector, just add these 2 points over there. Okay, zamindari system, that's fine, like that's okay, but you can add the partition point, and the commercialization is already there, right? So if you want to add a point of commercialization differently, then you have to remove the point which we did in the class, right? We did it na like British forced Indians to become to produce cash crop instead of food crops. So you can remove that point and you can write a new point, that commercialization of agriculture. Clear?
Yes, ma'am, clear. But will I get the same amount of mark if I write the one we learned?
Yeah, there is not a problem, but it depends on your teacher as well, right? Because
Yes.
sometimes teachers demand that whatever I have taught, you have to write that, right? This is the mentality of few teachers, that they feel like, okay, they don't consider all the things, because this is not nothing wrong, because we have also done things through book. But yeah, you can even ask her the suggestion, because in both you can write anything, she won't be checking it, right? But for UTs, for exam school, school exam, you have to somewhere think about teachers as well, because they will be checking your answer sheet. But in both, they don't consider you whether you are from which school, who taught you, nothing. Everyone is equal. If you have mentioned point, you will be getting marks, that's it. But for school, you can keep it in mind. But yeah, there is nothing wrong. But still, once your school gets reopened, you can ask your teacher for the suggestion, right?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Others? Any
Yes, ma'am.
question? Any query? Okay.
No.
Okay. So you can quickly give it a reading. You have 5 minutes, and after that, fill down. Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Excuse me.
Yes, Amos.
Yes, ma'am. I have to leave for something right now.
Okay,
Is it
okay.
okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you. Take care.
Yes, Mariam, you can also go. Is there anything special today? Because Heba also texted me that she won't be able to attend. She's traveling. Is there anything special today? Kushi? Anything special? Other? Mariam? No? Yes? Maybe?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Okay. What about you, Other? Mariam, you can leave. You have to attend the function, right? You can. Okay. Okay. So wish him or her from my side as well. Happy birthday. Okay, you can leave. Okay, bye-bye, Mariam. Take care. Okay, Kushi and Adit done?
Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
miss.
Okay, so basically prepare well for your exam, like your test, right? And I want you people to score very well. Adit, prepare well and don't absent, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. Okay, then you can also leave the meeting. Bye-bye. Take care.